What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and the title says it all. NBC Gold strikes again. So yeah, we have 10 games going on in 2 days, and they're all going on at the same time each day. So you would think, hey, let's have 2 games on TV. No, they have 1 game on TV, and then they have Goal Rush, which shows a game while cutting away to show the action from other games. So yesterday it was easy. You had 2 top teams playing, so Man U was, no, Tottenham was on TV because they were playing Leicester, big game because Tottenham frankly have been faltering, and then Man U had Watford, which kind of is a big game, but I would say the Tottenham game was slightly a bigger deal just because Tottenham seemed to be on a drop of form lately. So that was easy. Today though, you've got 4 top teams playing in 4 different matches, so it's easy to pick which one's going to be on TV. Man City. At this point, it's kind of a no-brainer that they're looking like the best team in the league. They're playing very entertaining football, so yeah, they're probably going to be the first choice to put on TV. I'm okay with that. But, first of all, you've got 4 teams playing, which means why not show 2 on TV and then have 1 on the Goal Rush? But no, they only do 1 on TV, 1 on the Goal Rush. So which one's going to be on Goal Rush? Because no matter who you put on there, 2 of the top teams' fans are going to have to pay if they want to watch their game, which I think at this point, most people are probably not going to pay because I've seen so many people talking about how stupid this is in the first place. I think there's a good chance that these people are not going to pay. So you've got Arsenal, Liverpool, and Chelsea. Of the 2 teams, which of these teams has had or have been snubbed recently? Liverpool and Chelsea. There was a week last weekend, not this past weekend, the weekend before, where Liverpool and Chelsea both were not on TV. So it makes sense that one of those 2 should be shown on Goal Rush. Of those 2, which of them, first of all, have been snubbed before, and which one is probably more of a title challenger? Well, Chelsea. They've been snubbed before when we played Leicester several weeks ago. I don't think Liverpool, aside from 2 weeks ago, have been snubbed. And then on top of that, Chelsea are the more likely title contender. Everybody's talking about Liverpool's attack. They still have no defense. Things are going to fall apart for them. We all know it's coming. Chelsea look the more solid team. Yes, they've had some bumps on the road, but frankly, they look like the more likely team of these 2 to challenge. On top of that, they're the champions from last year. They deserve a little bit more respect than, 3 games now out of the first 14, we're not going to show you on TV. That's ridiculous. Man City have had 1 game missed. Man U's had 1 game missed. Liverpool's had 1 game missed. Arsenal's had, I think, 2 games missed. Tottenham have had 1 or 2. Chelsea have had 3. So to have all the top 6, the champions from last year, have been not shown on TV the most. Explain that to me, please. That makes no sense whatsoever. So yeah, I'm pissed. Again, I got to see like the first 10 minutes of the game while they were waiting for Man City's game to start. And that was it. The rest I had to once again listen to guys react to it. And that means I don't get to see it. I don't get to actually judge it myself. I don't get to review it myself. That's frustrating. So I've finally seen a good hashtag to use, and frankly I've seen a lot of people using it, which is promising. On top of that, I went on the App Store, looked up NBCSN Gold, and apparently it's got a 2.8 rating overall on stars. So 2.8 out of 5. And people have just been bashing, first of all, what a greedy idea it is. And second of all, apparently the app's not even that good. So you're paying $50 for an app that hardly works. There's a problem here. I saw they're doing like a 20% off sale for Christmas. I'm like, no, whether you're asking for $50 or $40, it's still blackmail. You're holding our games hostage until we pay you more money. That's blackmail. I'm not paying blackmail. I don't pay blackmail. I've never been in a blackmail situation before now, but I don't pay blackmail. So, screw you. I would rather listen to guys react than pay you money, extra money, to watch the game that I should already be able to watch because I pay for my service provider. So, NBC Rant is done again. Let's talk a bit about the game. First of all, let's talk about the lineup, because I do think, we won 1-0, so we did get the result, but I do think it was made a little bit more difficult by 2 things. One, you're missing Aspilicueta in the back 3. I get you want to give him a rest, but anytime you bring Aspilicueta out of that back 3, it's going to be difficult. Now, defensively, we didn't have any problems, but I think you lack something when you don't have Aspilicueta coming out of the back 3 to help out. How many times has he delivered a great cross this year that Murata's been on the end of? We were lacking that today because Rudiger he can do it from time to time, but he's pretty sporadic on it. And Cahill, most of his long balls are just overhit. I hardly ever see him hit a great cross or a great ball in. So you lack that when you don't have a Spilicueta back there. On top of that, you also lack some defensive organization, which means there's a good chance that you're not moving the ball as well as you normally do. And on top of that, near the end of the game, when they're throwing people forward, it sounded like it was getting dangerous because you lacked that defensive organization. So I think not having him back there was a bit of a mistake, and also not bringing on Hazard until the last 10 minutes is a mistake. I get the fact we were up 1-0 at that point, so you don't think we need attack, but it's kind of like how I felt about Fabregas last year when Matic was in. I felt like we needed to bring Fabregas in, even though we were up a goal, because he brings a bit more stability in the midfield, and he can keep possession a bit more than Matic could. Hazard's the same way. Willian and Pedro, they're good players, they're clever players, they're both hard workers to win the ball back, but Hazard will keep you possession. Pedro can give the ball away too easily. Willian oftentimes will try to dribble too much and dribble himself into pressure. Hazard will keep possession of the ball. I hardly ever see him just give away possession. So I think it was a mistake to not bring him on sooner. I don't mind the fact that he didn't start because you do want to rest him, give him some time to rest up a bit because the Liverpool game was tough on him. But I still think you got to bring him on sooner. You got to get him in there to affect the game sooner. Because frankly, from what it sounded like, it was a similar situation that Liverpool had against us, which is it sounded like we were controlling the game, but our chances were not that dangerous. Now, I haven't seen the highlights, so it did sound like we did get some good chances, where Liverpool only held to like 1 or 2 good chances overall, but it still sounded like we weren't really testing the back line as much as we could have. It sounded like a lot of crosses, and then they deal with the cross. Cross in, they deal with the cross. That's what it sounded like was going on. It didn't really sound like we were getting in behind their defense and actually testing Fabianski that much. So I'll have to watch the highlights to see for sure, but that's just from what the announcers were saying watching the game. That's what it sounded like was going on. So yeah, those two I think were the only real problems I had. Not starting Spilicueta, not bringing in Hazard sooner. Other than that, the rest of the team, I like the fact that Pedro and Willian are getting a chance to hop in. I like the fact that we're still giving Moses a chance to sort of recover and just giving him some time in the game instead of starting him, because we do want him to come back to full fitness. He does bring a bit more pace and energy on the side than Zappacosta does. So yeah, wanting to bring him back to full fitness, of course. So it was good to see there. And then on top of that, I think giving back Yoko a rest, good. He didn't play well against Liverpool, so it's good to see sit the bench for a game. Give him a chance to sort of recover from that mentally, because whenever you have a bad game, it's always kind of a mental thing that bothers you. It's like, man, thinking about what you did wrong, thinking about what could I have done better. That's the problem that you get whenever you have a bad game. So letting him rest a game, letting him sit a game, just so he can sort of recover, not just physically, but mentally as well, I think is a good idea. So, yeah, aside from the Spilicueta and Hazard decisions, I think the rest of the decisions were good. As far as performances go, Courtois, it didn't sound like he had to do anything tonight until the very, very end. And even then, it didn't sound like he had to make a save. It's just he had to collect a few crosses in. Defensively, didn't hear anything about Cahill for most of the game. Christensen, he had to break up like one or two plays in the second half late on. And then Rudiger, most of what I heard from him was just getting forward, and of course he's the one that scored the goal. So it sounded like he was, same thing that a Spilicueta normally does, breaking into that middle and then trying to drive a ball in. But it just didn't sound like he was as effective with his ball in as Spilicueta is. But good to see him get the goal. So as far as the wingbacks are concerned, it sounded like Alonso was in a lot of space on the left side, but it didn't really sound like we were getting the ball out to him quick enough. So pretty much it was like he's there, but you're waiting, and then you send it. And at that point, the defender's already read that pass, and so made it out there to keep him from getting too much space. And I think that's a lot of where our best attacks come from, is whenever we can switch that ball quickly, and then our wingbacks are in a ton of space, instead of trying to slide it, and then get it out, and by then their entire defense is already shifted over, and Alonso has no more space. But I didn't really hear anything other than he's in a lot of space, and he gets the ball, and it sounded like he would cut it back or send it across that didn't really come off. So typical Alonso, in my opinion. At least recently. The beginning of the year, he was great. Recently, though, his crosses haven't been good enough, and on the ball, he just hasn't been quick enough either. So, Sapakasta on the right side, it sounded like he did pretty well. So, I'm not entirely sure exactly what that entails. I just heard it sounded like he was doing a lot of positive movement out there, really getting down the line, trying to create something. But I don't really know. It's hard to tell if that's just, he looks really good because he's moving quickly with the ball, or if he's actually creating something off of it. So one of the unfortunate, what's the word I'm looking for? Downsides of not being able to actually watch the game and only listen to somebody else talk about it. As far as Conte's goes, he sounded like he was just running around, breaking up play constantly. For the little bit that I did see, there was a moment where it was like he went into 4 different tackles on 3 different people. Ball goes to one guy, tackle, goes to another guy, tackles him, goes back, tackles another guy. So it just sounded like he was working as hard as he normally does. I would like to see Bakayoko get back to some of what we've seen before, because I do think Conte does need some help in there defensively. As good as Fabregas is at reading passes and intercepting them, I think he's not as good defensively as Bakayoko can be. So I think if we can get Bakayoko back to what we've seen from him most of this season, it will give Conte a bit of help, and he won't have to constantly just be everywhere. He can actually have some help in the middle of the field. So, what's next? Sorry, I've got the Man City game on, and they just freaking won in the last second of a stoppage time. We've got Willian and Pedro. Both of them sound like they played pretty well, but it didn't sound like they were dangerous. And I think that's been sort of why Hazard has been starting in behind Morata with nobody else up there. Because I don't think Pedro and Willian really bring that by themselves. You need somebody out there like Hazard who's going to really create something dangerous. Because frankly, you need that. You can't just constantly pass it around the top, pass it around the top. Because, you're not going to get anything from that. The guy that was talking, his name Jason something, former Chelsea player, before my time. But he was talking about, he's like, we're just passing right in front of the defense. We're keeping it all in front of them. We're not getting in behind them at all. And that's something that, Pedro can do it, but I don't think without somebody to distribute it to him, like Hazard, he's not going to get there. Willian, honestly, is more of a wide player. He likes to kind of push out wide, then cut inside a bit more. And then, Morata, if he doesn't have good service into him, if he doesn't have somebody to play off of like Hazard, then he doesn't get the service he needs, and he can't get in behind the defense like he likes to. So, I think overall, having those 3, it's just not dangerous. It can be dangerous at times if they pop up with a great goal, from Pedro, or if Willian happens to have another great chip cross shot. It can be dangerous at times, but I think overall, you need somebody in there like Hazard who can create. Somebody who can do it and just draw the defense over to him. Because without somebody like Hazard out there, the defense can just easily sort of calmly do their job. They don't have somebody to worry about. You just have to make sure you man mark. So that's about it, though, for the starting lineup. Moses came on for Zappacosta, like I said, just giving him some time to sort of get back into it. And then Hazard and Drinkwater came on with only 10 minutes left. So kind of disappointing that they weren't able to get a bit more time, or at least Hazard, because I feel like it would have stopped things from getting so dangerous near the end. But ultimately, we get the result that we need. It looks like everybody else won as well, so I don't think it helps us that much. But, if you tie or if you lose, then all of a sudden now they've gained 2 points on you, or 3 points. So getting the win was important. I wish it had come a little bit more convincingly. While we were the better team overall, we controlled most of the game, it looked difficult, or it didn't look, it sounded difficult for us. It sounded like we couldn't really create the chances that we normally do. It sounded like we weren't as deadly and dangerous as we normally are. So hopefully it's just because some players were being rested, and hopefully, some of the players that normally show out were just a bit tired and, resting their legs. But, we got Newcastle in the weekend at home, so it's another game where we should comfortably be in control. We just need to make sure, Rafa Benitez knows how to set up a team to be defensive. So we need to make sure we get those goals early and put it away. So that's about it for this game. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. For my fellow U.S. Chelsea fans, let me know what you're planning to do about the whole, gold thing. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Pep Guardiola is yelling at Redmond for something. Okay. I assume I'll hear about that later. But yeah, so let me know what you guys think about the gold package and all that stuff. And, if there's a petition out there that I need to sign, please let me know about it. But yeah, that's it for me. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea reviews. I'll see you guys in the next game. Hopefully you'll be able to watch it. Peace out.